Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is your host, Keith Doherty. Today our special guest is top real estate agent Katherine Rosbottom of Sotheby's International Real Estate based out of New York, New York. Katherine is an accomplished real estate executive with Sotheby's International Realty in New York City. She is a top agent in New York City and was featured on the cover of Top Agent magazine. She's also been featured in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Post, the New York Times, and NBC's Open House New York TV show. Katherine has been in real estate for 7 years. So with all that, Katherine, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Katherine, if you could start for our listeners, could you tell them what led you into real estate? Was it something that you knew you always wanted to do, or did you possibly stumble into it?
Well, if you would have told me 25 years ago that I was going to move to New York City and become a real estate broker, I would have told you you're absolutely crazy. But I really did kind of fall into it. I'm originally from Shreveport, Louisiana, and I moved up to New York City as a young college graduate. I worked in advertising for 3 years, and I was not fulfilled. And the minute I got to New York City, it fascinated me. I'm from a small town, and what really fascinated me about New York City was the real estate and the buildings. You could see the most amazing facade or the ugliest facade, and you had no idea what was behind that facade. And New York is just filled with so many amazing buildings and different apartments and, rooftop terraces and buildings that are built from just all sorts of crazy materials and, little houses that are built on top of building rooftops. And it really fascinated me. And I was going through a transition in my career at an advertising agency, and I just wasn't fulfilled. I had no passion for what I was doing. And when the economy crashed in 2008, 2009, I decided that I was going to do something about my career and my future, and I quit my salary-paying job in 2009, and people told me I was insane. I enrolled at NYU. I got my real estate license. I took a development course, and I took a finance course, and I got a job at the Corcoran Group. And from then on, I've been doing this for 7 years now, and it is truly my passion in life, and it truly fulfills me.
Excellent. Yeah, I can relate to. I actually grew up outside of Syracuse, New York, a small town called Canastota. It's really small. It's like nobody even has ever heard of it. So,
I've not heard of it.
But yeah, going from there and then so I can say I'm from New York, and people are like, "Where are you from?" And you don't have that accent, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm not from the city." Like, "Oh, you're from upstate." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I can't claim I'm from New York. I'm from upstate." So, but yeah, going to the city too. I remember for the first time, I think I was 17. It was just an amazing place, like you said. It was just so much, and it's a wonderful place.
Yes.
So, could you talk a little about what personal attributes, traits, or qualities that you think have most contributed to the success that you've had, and then talk maybe a little bit how you developed those?
Sure. Well, I'll tell you, from the beginning, I'm a people person. So I tend to do very well with people, whether it's in work or at home or just in my social life. I'm also a very aggressive person naturally, which bodes very well, not only living in New York City, but working in New York City in specifically the real estate industry. It's cutthroat. And so my aggressiveness, which was always perceived as a little too much in Louisiana and in the South, I fit in perfectly in New York. I also love a challenge. And so, when I was working in advertising, you get a promotion. Okay, what's next? You get that big campaign, what's next? And real estate is constantly a challenge for me. And so I think something that also plays into all of this is I have a lot of ambition. I'm a very ambitious person. And I think I've always been that way, and that's something that I think really does very well for me in my industry. I think without passion and ambition, I don't know that really you'd be able to make it in the industry, honestly. One other thing that has been very helpful to me in being successful in my career is I'm a very good negotiator. I win every deal almost because I can out-negotiate anyone else. And that comes with knowing the business, going out and doing your due diligence, and knowing better properties than anyone else, and being able to hone in on exactly how to negotiate on different types of properties. Yeah, I think that's probably. I guess I could go on and on and on, but I think those are the top qualities, I would say.
Excellent. And I think you kind of gave us some example there, but maybe you could just kind of give us another example of when these traits have played a role in your path towards success.
Well, I will tell you, I would say that the best example is literally building a multi-million-dollar real estate business out of thin air. I'm not from New York City. I had no network. I knew no one. I came up with my twin sister, and she was the only person I knew. And I would say that's probably the biggest example, is that with all of these things and who I am and where I come from, I was able to literally build a real estate business out of thin air, not knowing anyone. And in New York City real estate, those who are most successful come from New York. They have a network of people, and so they can jump right into the business, and they know everyone. And I knew no one. My whole network is down south. So I would say that is the ultimate example, is that I was actually able to build a business from nothing, not knowing anyone, and I have absolutely succeeded.
Really, that's the best example you can come up with? Only $1 million business? Come on now. No, that does speak volumes, because, like you said, and I think that New York City has that culture of everybody's connected and everybody knows and they work with their friends, and it's the in network type thing. And for you
yes,
to
and it was really difficult to break into that. Really was. I mean, look, I'm not going to say it was easy. There have been some real lows. You know what I mean? In the business, it's just part of it.
And that kind of leads me to my next point here is I was going to say that, not everything is usually a rose paved path to success.
Right.
So could you talk a little bit about some of which you kind of alluded there to, some of the major adversities and trials that you had to overcome in order to have the success that you've had?
Yes, I would really say that the number one issue was me not knowing anyone, and being not only brand new to New York City, but being brand new to the business and not knowing anyone. So, I didn't have a network of people that the minute I got my license, okay, I'm going to list this person's house and sell it, or this person's going to work with me to buy an apartment. I had to sit on email, and so at Corcoran they had something that was called the billboard, and people would post their clients that they didn't want to work with, and so I would sit there and wait for those to be posted so I could jump on them, and that's literally how I started my business. So I would say the number one, the most, and I still, deal with it today, is that my network is not in New York, so I have to constantly, every single day, meet new people, make cold calls, get out there, because my network's not here. Of course, now I have a network, which is great, but it's an ongoing struggle for someone that wasn't born in New York City.
Excellent. And can you talk a little bit about, obviously you started real estate at probably one of the worst times ever. I mean, if you look back at that, you jump into probably one of the toughest markets, along with the people. So you got two strikes against you. So what kept you going, despite there's some huge obstacles you faced. Why didn't you give up? What kept you going?
Well, I will tell you, the number one reason I didn't give up is I have an amazing husband. He wouldn't let me give up. He knew that it was what I was truly passionate about. I knew I was really great at it, and even though I didn't have the biggest business in the beginning, he really every January is a tough month in New York, and for the first few years, every January I would cry on my couch, because I was like, how am I ever going to make this work? How am I ever going to do this? And he would look at me and he would say, you were so great at this, you're going to keep going. So I was having that support system, of course. But also, I would say my ambition. I mean, I know I can do this. I would say to myself, I know I can do this. I know I can. And that's ultimately what really kept me going. I'm a very ambitious person.
Great. And I think that speaks volumes for everybody listening. You should pay attention that, it was a mindset that that you had. You're saying that obviously you have the support, which is great. It's always nice to have that safety net and someone backing you up. But to really have the mindset of like, hey, I'm going to do this. I don't care. I'm going to dive in. I'm going to keep driving forward.
And I also had a lot of people say to me, can't do this. You're not going to make it here. You don't know anyone. You need to go work with so-and-so. And I was like, oh, yeah? Well, I'm going to show you, because I know I can do it.
Yeah. Excellent. I guess kind of looking forward now, so you've established, you've built, you've had a lot of success. What do you see your vision for your business and your career, say, over the next 5 years?
Honestly, my goal in my business is to really become one of the top brokers in New York City, and that would be the top 1%. And every single year I get closer and closer and closer to that. And then, so that's super important to me. But what also is important to me is that, as my business grows, as long as I am being a honest and trustworthy broker who is giving unparalleled customer service and dedication, I know that my business will grow. So as long as I'm putting my clients first and we are, all doing the right thing and moving forward and all that good stuff, I know that I will hit all of my goals. I have thus far. And so it's just taking care of your clients. It's being their dedicated partner. This is most people's largest investment. In the New York City, we're talking about large investments. So there's a lot that goes into it. So first and foremost, my clients come first. And as long as I do the right thing by them and give them the best customer service and negotiate the best I can for them and represent them the best, I know I'll be a top broker in New York City. Top 1%. That's what I'm going for.
Excellent. And I think another key point there, and because we interview a lot of real estate professionals on our show, is that, you didn't say, I focused on the money. You didn't say, in the top agents that we talk to and brokers don't. They focus on the quality of the service and the person and the individual and serving them and making sure their needs are met. And the money is a byproduct of you,
That's exactly
taking
right.
care of somebody else.
The money will come if you are a great broker and you represent your clients to the fullest and to the best you can. The money will come.
Excellent. And kind of looking forward, I guess, too, on top of that, as you build out, what do you feel the best way that you market yourself as a real estate professional so you can have that continual growth?
I will tell you, marketing, of course, is, I would say 75% of our business and trying to touch as many people as you can so that they know you're there. Now, at the same time, you can send out millions of postcards and never get one phone call. And I will tell you that as long as I literally continue to represent my clients to the fullest, I will get more business that way than anything. It is a referral-based business, and people are so happy with the end result, whether we're buying a property, selling a property, making an investment, for investment purposes, a rental, whatever it may be. If everything goes great and that transaction is perfect and seamless and smooth, I will get more business than I would out of, saying, a magazine article or a postcard. It really is a business where it's a personal thing. People will say, oh, I have this wonderful real estate broker. She did this for me. He did that for me. And that's how I get this business. So honestly, as long as you are doing the best job that you can in representing that client, that's the way I get more business. I would say the best way I can market myself is by doing the best job I can in the current transaction, because that will equal more transactions.
Excellent. And I think sometimes that when people look at real estate agents, there's a lot of misconceptions on, what they bring to the table, what they can do. So what do you think
Certainly.
the biggest misconception or myth that people have about working with a real estate agent is?
I would say the biggest misconception is probably that real estate brokers are just in it for the money, only for the commission, and that they're not trustworthy. And honestly, that's one of the other reasons why I decided to get into the real estate business in New York City, was I did feel that there was a large void of professional and trustworthy brokers that people really wanted to work with and felt comfortable in working with. And so I think that, a lot of people in New York City say, oh, no, I'm not going to work with a broker. I'm going to go and I'm going to buy a property on my own. And it's really, it's not a good thing for you to be a direct buyer or, to sell your property on your own. Everybody needs to be represented by a broker. There are wonderful real estate brokers and agents out there that they do the right thing. And I promise you, if you hire a real estate broker, you'll get a better deal on a property, whether you buy it or sell it or rent it. And I think that's a big misconception in New York City, especially, is, we have a hot market right now. So we don't have a lot of inventory. And I hear people say all the time, well, if I come in without a broker, I'll get the deal. And that is the number one, I would say, misconception in New York City. Go get a broker. You will get the deal before you don't have a broker, if that makes sense at all. Because it's not always about the commission. There's so many other things that go into a real estate transaction in New York City. For example, board approval and your board package. And you really have to have an advocate on your side fighting for you to get the deal done and to make sure that everything lines up for you perfectly and works in your best interest. So I would say that those two things are probably very, very big.
Yeah, I think you made some good points there, as well as, a lot of the unforeseen issues that people don't realize, all the disclaimers and
Yes.
everything you got to disclose, but you're working in their best interest, whether a seller or a buyer. You're going to dig into all that because you know to look for it versus somebody may not know, and they could get into a bad deal that they're like, oh, it cost them a lot more money at the end versus if they would have just, worked with somebody.
That's exactly right. And it really is. I can't stress it enough that it really is in everyone's best interest to always be represented by a broker. Really.
So we'll give you like a hypothetical situation. Let's say you get a call from a family member in another state. They want to sell their home. What advice, let's say Louisiana, you get a call back from home. That's right, you said Louisiana. Is that where you said you're from?
Yes, Louisiana.
Okay. So you get a call and they said, hey, Catherine, we want to sell our house here. We're going to come up and live near you. So what advice would you give them about selecting an agent that could best serve their needs, kind of how you take care of your people? What would you tell them in order to do?
What I would tell them is I would tell them to do their research, do your due diligence. Look and find several different real estate agents in the area, whether you're getting them, because it's going to be referral-based most likely. Speak to your friends and family, people in your community, who have you had represent you and you've had a good experience with and really kind of met all your goals that you wanted in selling or buying a home. I would tell them to interview several people and speak to them not only about, it's not just about the price we can get. You want to work with someone. I mean, your real estate broker, they know everything about you. They're in your home all of the time. They're in your finances, putting together packages. So you really have to trust someone. So I would recommend interviewing several different people, and you will know when you meet the right one. And you're going to choose someone who is not only probably has a good reputation within the community and has sold several things in the community, but also that you mesh with, that you get along with socially. Real estate's a very social job, and you want this person to get along with the people that walk through your home. So I would say do your due diligence, interview several different ones, and one thing I would definitely say to not do, I would be very wary of hiring the broker that they say they're the number one broker and they have 75 different listings. In my experience, that broker who takes on all those listings, they spread themselves so thin that they cannot give you the service that you need. So I would say that you really want to hone in on the broker that, of course, you mesh with, has done well, knows the community, but also, so you want to go with the broker that has done several deals, has a good reputation in the community, but not necessarily the broker that has 75 listings. They will spread, they will be spread so thin, and you won't get the customer service from them. I, for example, only take on about 8 to 10 clients at a time, and that is so I can dedicate myself to you and your property. And someone who, these guys for $1 million listings, they have tons and tons of listings and this and that, but they cannot give the service that most other brokers can give. So I would be wary of that. Don't always go with the one that has all the big, shiny listings.
Excellent. I think that's some great advice for everybody to listen to. Now, what area specifically, Catherine, do you cover? I mean, you're out of New York City, so what general geography?
Well, I will tell you, so many people ask me, where do you specialize in New York City? I really specialize the entire island of Manhattan. My clients take me to the financial district. They'll take me all the way up to Harlem. I've done deals in between. So wherever my clients take me, I go. But it really is, I specialize in the entire island of Manhattan.
Excellent. So I guess if someone needs a real estate agent in that area, specifically, New York City or the Manhattan area, what's the best way they can find out more information about you and how you can help them?
I would suggest that they go to sothebyshomes.com, and you can read my bio. You can see all of the PR and articles and newspapers and this and that I've been in. And you can also browse my exclusive listings. And that's really a good way to learn more about me. And, of course, should you want further information or really when you want to see if we mesh well and you would like to work with me, please feel free to call me or email me. My contact information is on sothebyshomes.com, and I would be happy to meet you in person or to speak with you over the phone, and we can figure out what works best for you.
Excellent. Well, Catherine, I want to, personally thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and sharing all your professional real estate knowledge and experience with our listeners. And if anybody's listening and you want to learn more about Catherine or how she can help you, you can visit her site, like she said, and we'll also, below this interview, we'll have a link to her site and any other contact information, so you'll be able to get in touch with her and see if you guys are a good fit if you need some help in that area. So until our next show, everybody have a great day, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.